Hello, welcome. New story. I just picked up this bike as parts. It was selling as parts, and the guy actually had another one, a giant ATX with full XTR on it. That's the one I actually wanted. They were both €50. This one was not worth €50 though, as the seat post is stuck. There's no front wheel. Back wheel was missing a spoke. The bottom bracket's wobbly. The crank arm for the 600 crankset has lost its threading for the pedal. Anyway, to secure the deal, I told the guy that I would take both of them. I knew that the other one would he would have received a ton of messages for it, and he said yes, and he called me. Anyway, got both of them. Since yesterday, I've moved quite a bit forward. Crelish is a bike shop from Switzerland, number 48 Street, Shelley, and the make was a MERAL, of course, which is quite a well-known French bike manufacturer from Touraine, and has since been relaunched by Sifac in 2019, and they now make bikes as well. I broke my back yesterday removing the seat post, but it's come out and no damage done. Hopefully it's the correct one. It says 26.2, and after a bit of research on the Columbus Aelle framing, it seems to be that seat tube size. Another problematic was the right crank arm. The threading had been completely stripped, and my friend gave me a suggestion yesterday to just re-tap the crank arm and put an insert in. So we've done that. Unfortunately though, I've just realized this morning that although now we can use this crank arm again, this is obviously a standard threading, and on the left side it's French threading. So now we're going to have to need two different pedals, or I need to re-tap the other side so that we can fit standard pedals in. I was going to swap out the brakes with some Shimano 600s that kind of have a full Shimano group, but if I'm quite honest, comparing the two, these Modolo ones, it's not a significant improvement, so I'm just not going to bother with that. We'll leave the Modolo ones on. Funnily enough, actually, I noticed that the Shimanos are on the opposite sides, where these on the left, and it's the same at the front. The front wheel was not matching and not original, obviously, with the bike, and it has a blue anodized rim. I asked a younger person yesterday if I should swap them round, and they said no, that one looks cool, so I'm going to take that suggestion. It's probably going to be my type of buyer anyway, some younger person that's going to use this in the city anyhow. So globally, I think that just the frame's going to need some cleaning, mainly. So I'm going to do that this morning. We've got about 2 hours to work on this. I'm gonna undo the rest of the parts and brighten up the frame. The guidoline is in excellent condition, and it goes perfectly with the frame color. So what I'm going to attempt to do is unwrap it, and I'm going to put it back on again. It'd be a waste to throw this away, especially. Same thing for the brakes. I was going to swap it out for something a little bit better, but they're perfectly fine, and I don't think I'm going to gain much by swapping them over with something else. And this part I will put some wrap up some black tape. That should give you enough handle surface anyway. And now we can do the other side which is incidentally also unwrapped itself. Next thing to deal with is the rear wheel. We've got the spoke that's missing, and it obviously needs to be recentered or retrued. So let's begin with that. And on closer inspection, it looks like we've got more than one. We've got another spoke that has a hairline crack right there, and so we're going to need to replace that one as well. I took the opportunity to undo the axle to gain access to the ball bearings. There was tons of play anyway. Grease is very dirty. Had a very hard time getting the spokes on actually, because it appears that this is a Maillard, or very similar to a Maillard 700, and removal is these two notches, I believe, here. Unfortunately, I could not undo this. It was very, very difficult. Probably will need to get it on a big vise, which I don't have, but I managed to get the spokes on anyway. And now let's chuck it onto the touring stand. Not much left to do. Let's work on this headset. Probably needs some new grease. Turns out the stem, which was relatively new, is stuck inside. I'm going to try and get it out from underneath. I've tried all the other methods. Well, it looks like it's not the expander plug, it's actually the stem itself that's stuck. I've managed to move the expander plug up and down on each end, and it's not moving the stem, so the stem is probably corroded on the exterior of its surface onto like the metal here. Maybe no grease was added when this was installed. I left some penetrative oil to soak, and I've put a stem bar back onto the stem to try and force it off, and it looks like it's moving. And anyway, back to the original thing that we were doing, the headset. If I'm honest, it looks very fine and greased up. It's maybe possibly been changed over the years. It looks like there's roller bearings inside. Since the grease fine, I'm not going to go with the procedure of cleaning anything. I've added on a little bit of grease on top of it, and it should be good. Figured out the issue with the stem, of course. It's a French frame, which means the inner diameter is 22 and the stem is 22.2, although technically when you measure these they don't actually do 22.2, they're just a bit underneath, and same with the frame. It's not super accurately there, but it's pretty much there. So we're going to just sand down a little bit, and I think that should do. So the stem now is going to fit in, and it's still very tight, but it's actually able to move around now, and we just now need to screw down the expander plug. I don't know if it's obvious, but I've pretty much cleaned the frame now, and I've added on some linseed oil to brighten up the paint mostly. So now I'm going to just stick the bomb bracket back in. Inside the seat post or seat tube, and also the seat post itself. Everything's working fine now. I've also added on this little bit of metal here. That's actually to open up the top part of the kind of seat post binder to kind of open it up a little bit, because it looks like I think it was tightened too much at one point. So I'm trying to bend it open a little bit. Can't believe the amount of time I've spent not actually working on this bike. I can't remember if I mentioned this. So as well as putting one of those sleeves to repair the threading on one of the crank arms. I also re-threaded the other side so that it was standard threaded instead of French threading, so that way we could have 2 pedals on each side that were the same. I really like the old Crelish chains. They just last really long. So I cleaned it up. It's a little bit rusty, but once we're going to put some oil onto it, it should be good. I found some stuff in the bike shop bin last night, notably some new bar end wrap and also some bar caps to put on the other side, and a bottle cage as well. So we've got lots of little bits there, always useful in the bins. The calipers aren't quite centered, so I'm just centering them. It will make the alignment or the adjustment of the brakes easier. finally the pedals. I managed to fix some 105s. That'll do for now. Okay, so I'm trying the bike now. Feels good. Gonna change the gears soon. It's pretty hard though, holding this camera with the camera stand in my hands. Globally feels good though. Nothing wrong with it. It's a fairly simple setup anyway. The bike looks definitely better than it did before. I didn't mention the wheels, but the I just put on some free wheels I got from the recyclery. Anyway, I'm off. We're gonna go get some beer. So thank you for listening, and until next time, peace out.